Hey everybody, it's Benita, and I had a few things on my mind. I wanted to just um, get them off my mind, I guess. I'm finding making these videos is the best way for me to convey, if you will, a message or what have you when I have things on my mind. It's kind of therapeutic also to make these little videos or whatever, but tonight I want to talk to you about something very specific. I think um, losing my home has really opened my eyes to a lot of things that I couldn't see before. I couldn't understand things like that. You know, it has given me an opportunity to see people for who they are. It has given me strength to tell my stories, tell my truths about the things I do go through behind the scenes that no one sees. Um, you know, as women, particularly black women, we go through so much. Um, we carry so much. We endure so much. We're expected to overcome so much, forgive so much, forget so much. And we protect people who intentionally mean us harm. We protect people who hurt us over and over and over again. We protect them by not telling our stories, by not telling our truth. And I get it, you know, particularly seeing how black women treat each other when one of us does come forward with a story. You know, at first we're all excited, we're all into the story and everything, but as soon as we see that person getting a little bit of notoriety or whatever, you know, then we start the tearing down process. You know, it's like, we'll build you up, but then we don't want you to get too high-minded, so we're going to tear you down over here. I don't know why black women do each other that way, but that's how it's done. And in the meantime, while we're tearing each other down, the culprits, usually a man, and he's going on by his business or going on to the next person. You know, all of us are susceptible at some point in our lives. It doesn't matter if you're young, old, you know, doesn't your education, doesn't matter your financial portfolio. None of that keeps you from being prey to a predator. I found out that no matter how good of a person you are, I consider myself a good person. No matter how good of a person you are, there will always be someone that will come along and catch you at your most vulnerable point in your life. And it's unfortunate that that one person that gets close enough to you to see all of your vulnerabilities, all of your weaknesses, all of your fears, everything that makes you cry, that one person will get close enough to you where you will unlock all of that. And when they feel the timing is right, they pounce on you because they have predatory nature. I don't know how else to explain what I've gone through. I was talking to my daughter, you know, I expect there to be some backlash by the time I finish with my story. I'm not going to start it tonight, but this is just an introduction. Let me start off also by reminding everyone I have been living for the past 12 years with 2 different types of brain tumors. And I've had several brain surgeries. I've had strokes. I've had radiation directly to my brain. What I did not know was all of that trauma to the brain makes it sometimes hard for me to decide what's right at that moment. It's hard for me to process information as I would have processed it without the brain tumors, the surgeries, and the strokes, or what have you. So having all of that trauma to the brain, it certainly has some lasting effects. And one of the things that I notice most is I found myself the very thing I said I would never do. Never, ever, ever do. And I was firm on that. I've spent 56 now. I spent all of my life saying that's something I would never do. The very thing I said I would never do, I found myself in that situation. Not on my own merit, but by the time I realized what was going on, you know, you're staring it in the face, you know. So I wanted to preference that, not as an excuse, but I wanted to give some foundation. So when I do begin to tell my story, you all have a little background on how, I guess if you want to say someone like me, you know, could fall prey to whatever that was, you know. And I was sitting here tonight in this hotel room where you guys now know I live. I've lost my home. And you know, everybody has that one person in their life, even if it's a significant other or what have you, or you think it's a significant other, or they led you to believe they were your significant other, what have you. Those are the people you expect to be there, you know, like no matter what, you expect for that person to be there. And because that person showed himself as that person, I let my guard down. And I allowed this person to get too close to me. And I didn't even realize it was happening until it was happening. You know, I just thought this person was a friendly person, was there out of the kindness of his heart, you know. It's not like he didn't know what I was going through. In fact, he was there at my first brain surgery. He drove me there, you know. So I can't say that. And that was December 2016. And that's how long I've been knowing this person. That's how long this person has been around my life and my family. The unfortunate thing is, with me, if we're friends, we're friends. I don't have see no reason to look over my shoulder or distrust you or none of that. Because I just take people at their word until they show me different, you know. And this person, I thought I could say was a very good friend. I thought. So there was no reason for me to suspect anything funny, you know, anything, you know, whatever. There was no reason for me to be suspicious of this person because this person had always shown himself to be very friendly. Um, and I didn't see, you know, him as anything other than a good friend, you know. And what really made me like this person, he reminded me so much of my dad, you know. Um, I kind of felt like he was an extra big brother for me for a while. You know, that's the way I saw him. Um, because when you're going through um, an illness as serious as brain tumors and brain surgeries and strokes, for me, trying to find love or mate or significant other, that was the furthest thing from my mind. Like literally the furthest thing from my mind. Because I felt like my every day was consumed with just trying to live. Every day was consumed with trying to keep my mental together. You know, every day was consumed with just, you know, not going into depression, not feeling like, you know, why me, God? Why me? Why me? You know, every day was filled with not trying to fall into that pity party, but to keep going on and keep going on. That's where my life was, you know. My life was about surviving. My life was about staying alive, you know. So I didn't date or anything. I just kept fighting to live, you know. And I was glad to have, you know, a friend. For me in the beginning was like a big brother figure. And I'll tell you why once I get into the story. And again, I understand how women will respond because I see how y'all doing everybody else. I don't think I'm going to be exempt when I tell my story. But I think I'm at the point where I just don't care anymore. You know, I think I'm at the point where I'm tired of protecting people who have shown me time and time and time and time again they would not do the same for me, you know. In fact, when it all boils down, people will show you they don't really give a damn about you. Now that's true. Uh, Ironically, this friend would always say, well, if you talk to somebody about something over and over, you keep bringing it to their attention and they don't do anything about it to change, he would tell me, that kind of person don't give a damn about you. And what's crazy about it, the very thing he started telling me to how people are, I start seeing all of those things in him, you know. And so you ever have to carry something by yourself for so long, it weighs you down. That's how I feel. I feel like my heart is heavy, like I'm just weighed down, you know. I can't do it anymore. You know, I can't keep this internal anymore. I think that sharing for me, recording, making these videos, not only is it therapeutic, but it's also, it's going to give me room to breathe, because sometimes I feel like it's so much, I'm carrying so much that I can't breathe sometimes. And I'm tired of feeling like I can't breathe, you know. The hurt that's left in me, it makes me feel, it smothers me sometimes like I can't breathe. The distrust that I have for people now, sometimes I can't, it makes me feel like I can't breathe. And I don't want to be that person, where that traumatic experience makes me block everybody out. Care who you are, male, female. I don't want a friend. I don't want nobody close to me. Sometimes people can crush you so bad you don't trust nobody ever again. I'm not to that point. However, I feel like that sometimes. And I think the saddest part of all is that I asked this individual, you don't feel like you've done anything wrong? No. You don't feel like you owe me an apology for anything? No. Oh, okay. 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 And when someone has a mind like that, there's nothing you can do to make them see the wrong that they've done or the harm that they've done. So this is not about exposing anybody. This is about me being able to breathe again, because I could care less from this point on what happens to anybody except for me and my children and my grandchildren, period. I don't have a vindictive heart. I'm not a vengeful person, but I need to breathe. And carrying this and holding this in, I can't breathe. And so, and I'm not trying to be a copycat to anybody's story. Like I said, this person been in my life since 2016. So but I've always protected this person. And what I've gone through lately just really has opened my eyes. I've not heard from this person. I've not seen this person. This person has showed me zero care. And I keep thinking, why is it as women we feel like we always have to be the protector even when somebody else is wrong? Why do we feel like it's our burden to carry, because we don't want to hurt them, or we don't want to hurt them, or we don't want to be talked about, or we don't want to be ostracized, or we don't want to be called this or called that. Damn all of that. I need to breathe. I need to be able to breathe. And if telling my story, a lot of y'all, when y'all tell y'all stories, y'all change names, and I'm not doing that. I'm not changing nobody's name. If your name is Willy Wonka, I'm using Willy Wonka. Whatever your real name is, that's what names I'm using. You might say, well, I can get you for defamation of character, da-da-da-da-da. Do it. My defense is number one, truth. So I'm not worried about all of that. The only thing I'm worried about is when it comes to my family, my children and my grandchildren. The only thing I'm worried about is them feeling like they're going to have to defend me if I get the backlash I expect to get. I don't care about that. But I need to breathe. And it's been so much. It's been so much that I'm carrying. It keeps me up at night. I don't eat sometimes. Every time I talk to my therapist, every time I see my therapist, first thing she asks me, are you eating? Yes, I'm eating. She talks about how, every time she sees me, I look thinner and thinner. But I told her I am eating. I eat when I can, or eat when I feel like it. But like I said, this thing that I've gone through, on top of losing my home, on top of losing my daughter, which I still grieve my daughter. This is the month she died in. March and April are always hard months for me. And then my mother passed in May. So March, April, May are really, um, those are the months that I deal with seasonal depression. Um, and it gets worse for me during those months. That is something this person is fully aware of because he's seen me walk through all of those things. Losing my daughter, my mother dying, like I said, it's been there, see me go through surgery after surgery, and, you know, um, so I almost felt like I was obligated, to protect him. But, now that I'm kind of looking back on things, I realize that while I was protecting him, no one was protecting me, And like I said, this is not about trying to put anybody out there. I don't care about that. Because if that's all I wanted to do, trust me, I could do that. This is about getting this off of my chest so I can breathe. Anytime you feel like you have this secret you're carrying around, sometimes it's the secret that smothers us. And I feel like this secret is smothering me. And to be honest, it's not even my secret. I don't have a secret. It's not a secret that I have. It's not a situation I created. I feel like it was a situation that I was taken advantage of when I was most vulnerable. I was afraid of dying. Like I said, grieving my daughter, grieving my mother. Again, every time I would go to the doctor, I was always afraid I was going to hear more bad news. Because my second brain surgery, I didn't do too well. Like 3 weeks after my second brain surgery, I hemorrhaged. I was dying. All my organs had shut down. It just has been a hell of a ride. That's all I can tell you. It's been one hell of a ride. And no one should have taken advantage of all of that to use to their own gratification, their own whatever. Because that's not something I deserved. It's not something I looked for. It's not something I desired. It's not something I wanted. But it happened. These things happen. People get sometimes to come in with a motive, to me, is one of the most demonic things you can do to a good person. This person don't have nothing towards you that looks at you as if you're a bad person. Even the Bible says, to the pure, all things are pure. So when people come in my life, I never expect, for them to be after anything, or I'm not a suspicious person. None of that. So when people come in my life and they show themselves to be genuine, that's what I have to go off of until you show me different. My story is going to be a very telling story. Like I said, I know I'm going to get some backlash. I'm prepared for that, But I have to tell my story to get this off my chest because, like I said, so many times as women, we protect men all the time. And if the situations were reversed, I don't believe that men would protect us the way we protect them. We protect them. We'll take stuff to the grave, you know. We protect men to even to our own detriment sometimes, you know, and the whole while there's no one to cover you. There's no one protecting you. There's no one, you know, telling you, hey, watch out. And what's crazy, the person that's telling you to watch out, that's the one you should be watching out for. You know, because they become everything to you. They become your best friend, your confidant. They become everything to you. And whole while they so close you can't even see what they're doing. You have no suspicions. You can't see because they're too close. Just can't see it because they're too close. But then when you start seeing it, sometimes you can do something about it right away, and sometimes you can't. And sometimes it takes something tragic or traumatic to happen in order for you to open your eyes, like it was in my case. I don't believe I lost my home because of anything like that. I just believe that in the process of all of that, I got to see that this person never really cared about me at all, you know, because there is no way you can sit there and watch me go through all of this when you know I'm a good person. I go through all of this. You don't call, you don't show up to check on me, none of that, you know. And for you to have been in my life as long as you have, and for you to have been as close to me as you got, I can't in my mind have any reason or rationale of why you didn't show up for me, you know. So yeah, that hurts. But it hurt, but it also revealed exactly what kind of person he is, you know. And yes, my story only involves one person. Then another story will involve another person, you know. But I'm going to keep those two stories separate. The one that's pressing on me the most is the one I feel took the most advantage of me in my most vulnerable times, times of weakness, times of confusion. I didn't have a lot of mental clarity. Some days I still don't. I'm just going to be honest. Some days I still don't. When you have as much trauma to the brain as I had, strokes are trauma to the brain. Brain tumors, trauma to the brain. Brain surgeries, trauma to the brain. That high dose of radiation, trauma to the brain. You know, when you have that much trauma to your brain, you really do need somebody to more or less watch over you or have your back or help you make good decisions and things of that nature. You would never imagine that the very person you trust the most would be the person that will betray you the most, the person that will leave you the most broken and damaged and hurting. You never think that. And the whole time, this person is saying they love you, you know, they love you, they care about you, all this good stuff. And the truth of the matter is, you couldn't have, now that I look back, you couldn't have loved me the way you was telling me you love me, because you don't even love yourself, you know. Like I said, I don't think anything caused me to lose my home, except for the fact that dealing with brain tumors for 12 years, I just ran out of money. I just couldn't keep paying $2,300 a month. It got to be too much, you know. When my rent was like 1900, I could handle it. Then they just took it up 2300. I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't. And I would confide in this person. I'd be like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, and because for me, from my perspective, that he also, to me, he had a lot of wisdom and a lot of stuff he could share and show me how to do it, whatever. Because you got to remember, having that many strokes and all of that, from all of that, in some spots on my brain, I have permanent brain damage. Let me make that clear. So when I say that, some things I didn't, see or catch on right away, you'll understand. I'm not saying that to excuse any of my behavior. I'm saying that because that's what it really is, okay? And this person knew about all of that because, again, he had been there since my first surgery, I've spent so much time protecting people, men especially, and I'm just tired. I'm tired of protecting them. I'm tired of, carrying, not so much carrying them, but I just feel like you ever feel like somebody takes a piece of you and leave you broken, and that piece you feel like it's missing because they have it, but they won't give it back? Like that. That's how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. So when I put this story together, it's going to be called Under the Influence. And the reason why I'm calling it Under the Influence, you might think of, alcohol and drugs. I'm not talking about under the influence, because remember, several strokes, two different types of brain tumors, several brain surgeries, radiation, all that stuff, hemorrhaging, losing so much blood oxygen to my brain. I forgot what day it was in the hospital. The nurse came in and he was talking to me, and he said something. I said, well, yeah, I just got here last night. And he was coming to check my vitals. And this was after my second brain surgery for the first type of brain tumor that I have. So you gotta remember, each brain tumor, they couldn't operate on them both at the same time because that would have been too much trauma on my body. So they had to do the first brain tumor first. Then I waited 5 or 6 months. Then they did the second one. All right. So then I almost made it to 5 years. Almost right at 5 years. And then the tumor grew back. So then I had to go back through a whole another brain surgery for the first one, another one for the second one. That one my body didn't do well. So after that, that's when I went into the hemorrhage and was dying. From what I understand, I lost so much blood oxygen to my brain. When the nurse came in, he was saying something, I can't remember. And I said, well, I just got here last night. And so he stopped what he was doing and he looked at me. He said, what did you say, Miss Bradley? I said, well, I just got here last night. I said, you asked me something, but I just got here last night. He said, hold on a second. So he fiddles around on the computer or whatever while he's looking at something, and he says, no, you didn't just get here last night. And he said, so what's today? I said, Sunday. I just got here last night. I came in Saturday night last night. He said, Miss Bradley, do you realize you've been here 4 days already? And I'm like, I've been here no 4 days. I just got here last night. And he literally had to like bring, he went out to get another nurse, and they came in and they talked to me. And I'm like, so why can't I remember that? And they explained to me because I had hemorrhaged so much. I didn't have enough blood oxygen flowing to my brain. That's why I couldn't remember that I had been there already 4 days. Because I was in ICU. And so ICU, like intermediate, something like that it was. But that's how bad I had hemorrhaged. The ambulance had to come get me, all of that. So when I tell you, when you hear this story and I say under the influence, you'll understand that a lot of stuff, a lot of decisions I made, a lot of things that I took in, and they were not rational, clear thinking decisions. Even now, I'm very careful where I am, who I'm around, things of that nature, because I know at certain points I can be susceptible to certain things, or someone seeing that vulnerability in me, and I don't want to ever be taken advantage of again and left crushed like I've just gone through. The good thing about it is that I can forgive you. I can forgive a person, and I have. But now I feel free enough to tell my story, basically. So I wanted to just talk and make this introduction. I don't want to talk too long or give away too much before I tell the story, because I want it to be told in order, and I want it to be told truthfully. So I'm going to have to write it out and then record it like that, okay? And then I'll upload it to my TikTok and my YouTube channel. Those are going to be the only two places you can hear my story. Excuse me, it's on my TikTok and on my YouTube channel at Live Talk with Bonita Bradley. So that's going to be the title of my story, Love Under the Influence. Because this is a person I did love, still do, but I gotta get this. I gotta be able to breathe. You know what I mean? I got to be able to breathe. And so in order for me to breathe, I'm just gonna tell my truth and let the chips fall where they may. Okay? All right, guys. I'll see you next time.